had a couple of minutes, so I thought I'd make a second, or rather third video. I don't know whether anyone's actually enjoying them or not, but it's probably not a bad idea for me to occupy my mind. As you can see, I've started on one of the pictures already. This one's pretty self-explanatory. You've got what looks to be some sort of primitive culture living in the trees. I don't think it's underground. No, definitely not. But then there's also little landing pads, it looks like. And you can see the speeders. 5 of them, 6 of them on the page or on the picture. I would say they're probably belonging to the people who live in this particular treehouse. I'm not seeing a whole lot in this picture. Your classic setting for a zombie film, of course. Power's out. You got fires breaking out all over the place. Chaos on the road. And absolutely 0 people. I don't see anyone here on the screen. What looks like a military vehicle or a bus or camouflage. Just behind, like, the Capitol building or what have you. But absolutely no people. That's kind of surprised. Usually there'd be bodies or something to build a little tension. To explain, well, who caused the fires, for example, or the crashed cars. But there's nothing. And on second thought, it doesn't look like much of a zombie. The destruction, the buildings that are broken and whatnot, you can see they're smaller. Over here, for example, since I'm pretty positive you can see my mouse. Yep. Down here in this corner, for example, looks like a bomb has gone off. Well, not a bomb, but something. Ditto here, and of course the big fire and everything. Every time I see this one, I want to say it's like a gun of some kind. But if you look closely, you can see well, it looks like a city almost on the inside. So people maybe live inside there. It's some aerodynamic structure or something. But the idea of it being some sort of a planetary defense weapon is much more interesting to me. So that's what I like to think of it as. I wonder what they'd be defending. Or the jet plane that's, well, looks like an F-14 flying by overhead. I wonder who they're defending against. An attacker, or... No, and you can see the road here in the background as it leads off into the distance to the next planetary cannon. How do you not love this picture right off the bat? You've got your old city down there. Looks like a countryside in England somewhere, off in the moors. You've got your factory from the left there. People probably went to work making bullet casings and bombs during World War II. And now look at what they've built. It's giant. It's almost a world ship of some kind. I wonder where they'd be sending that off to colonize some other world. Definitely not something local, that's for sure. But how easy would it be to set a story in a world like this, or in a location like this, where you've got, let's say London's building a colony ship to send out to the first habitable world they found, science, NASA, whomever. You could have some other faction who's goal it is to sabotage that. I could even send the players off to sabotage something like that. They sneak in and integrate themselves with the people who live in that village. And of course, you'd end up having to make them side with the people in that village too, of course, right? I'm petting my dog while I record this. And he's got these little sticky spots, like somebody spilled syrup on him. Which is entirely possible, isn't it? Because you're underfoot quite often. I bet they have dogs like this in that picture. They take entire families out on a world trip like that, I bet. That's a nice picture, though. I like that one. Lots of ideas, creative ideas that way. The only thing I can think of for this one is, what if the moon was pulled into a closer orbit? You'd have really messed up tides, probably electrical storms in the background there. I wonder what would pull the moon closer. Some kind of an enemy weapon of some kind. Dun dun dun. No. I always want to say this is Lord of the Rings, but there's a caption in the bottom which you can't see that titles it Atlantis by a fellow from Romania, Alex Popescu. I don't know. But well done, Alex. Beautiful picture. I guess this is underwater. I've always thought of it as, I've always viewed it more as some deep underground lost city. But having it full of water, that's much cooler. Yeah, much cooler. You've got all the bioluminescent lights. And I guess I do see fish now in the two lighter areas towards the rear, towards the background of the picture. I wonder who would visit down here. Or if you were to visit. Like James Cameron, he just went down to the bottom of the Marianas Trench by himself in a submarine. It's like 10,000 leagues under the sea, as it were. That would be stunning. Imagine if he came across something like this down there. He'd never talk about it, I'm sure. But what kind of people would you find down there? Just a beautiful space shot. How can you not love stuff like this? 4 planets, 2 planets and a moon, or planet with a moon that has a moon. Star Wars. Well, this is definitely the end of a world. City being attacked, or I tend to lobby towards being attacked because I use these in role-playing games with friends. So I always want them to have an enemy, something clear that they can fight against. This is apparently from a video game, EVE Online. Whether it's just a wallpaper or whether this is something that's actually happened, I couldn't say. I don't follow the game. But it is a thought-evoking picture, isn't it? I suppose if it's not enemy attack from above, some sort of orbital bombardment, it would be a solar radiation storm that's sweeping across the planet in waves like a sunbeam, cooking everything behind it. How would you avoid something like that? I would have the players racing in a speeder trying to avoid it. I wonder if they would stop and save anyone on their way if I put a hurt person in their path. I've done that before and they tend to ignore them. I'm pretty sure this is from Star Wars. If not, it definitely looks like it. City of the future. You could set a entire story in a city like this and never run out of things to do. It'd be pretty rad if they set a game like Grand Theft Auto in a city like this. Well, I see I've breached the 10-minute mark, so I think I'm going to stop and upload this and see whether anyone enjoys it or not.